Fellow citizens, it is with solemn purpose that I speak to you now, not as a figure of history, but as a voice echoing through time, summoned by the perils of your age. I speak not to scold, but to warn, not to command, but to remind. You are the stewards of a republic bought with sacrifice, and that republic is in danger, not from muskets or bayonets, but from something more silent and more sinister, the corrosion of civic belief and the rise of ideas that would unmake the very foundations of liberty under the guise of order, hierarchy, and efficiency. You call it in your time the Dark Enlightenment, a curious name, for it speaks of enlightenment but delivers darkness. It would undo the principles which gave birth to this nation. It would enthrone the few above the many, elevate private empire over public good, and trade the slow toil of deliberation for the swift cruelty of algorithmic decree. Let me be clear. No nation, no matter how advanced its tools or wealthy its elite, can endure if it forgets its duty to the governed. This new movement, cloaked in digital code, dressed in philosophical garments, is but monarchy reimagined. It extols hierarchy not as necessity, but as destiny. It regards democracy not as a safeguard of liberty, but as an inefficiency to be corrected. It speaks of exit, not to escape tyranny, but to abandon accountability. Its architects whisper that rule by technocrats or corporate stewards is preferable to the will of the people, that elections are outdated. That inequality is nature's design, that a strong hand, unburdened by the consent of the governed, must guide mankind into the future. If such ideas had existed in my day, we would have known them for what they are, the musings of kings and courtiers, and we would have rejected them, not with scorn, but with resolve. A republic does not thrive because it is efficient. It thrives because it honors the dignity of its citizens, the rule of law, and the sanctity of open discourse. A republic tolerates noise, confusion, and disagreement, not because they are pleasant, but because they are necessary. What the Dark Enlightenment proposes is seductive. It promises order without debate, prosperity without participation, governance without governance. But these promises are a snare. The moment you cede the right to question, to challenge, to vote, to be heard, you are not governed. You are ruled. Remember what was written in your declaration, that governments derive their just powers from the consent of the governed, not the code of the coder, not the wealth of the investor, not the preference of the strong. If your future belongs to those who wish to retreat into enclaves of private sovereignty, whether digital or territorial, then your union dissolves not with rebellion, but with indifference. You must not allow it. Citizenship is not a title, it is a duty, and your first duty is to remain awake. Awake to manipulation, awake to ideology disguised as inevitability, awake to those who would convince you that freedom is inefficient, that equality is passé, that democracy is too slow for the age of machines. The challenges before you are immense, but so were ours. We fought against an empire with little more than courage and conviction. You too must fight, not with muskets, but with clarity, vigilance, and collective will. Guard your republic, not because it is perfect, but because it is yours. Let no man, no machine, no ideology, however clever or dressed in modern words, convince you to trade liberty for control or people for protocol. The future, as always, belongs to those who claim it with honor. Stand firm, and may Providence guide you.